And we're back. Sorry for the delay. Sorry for the crash. We had a computer meltdown. But we're back, and hopefully you are too. We'll pick right back up where we left off.
Let's give it a second for people to find the stream again.
Sam is saying, let's give it a second for people to find the stream again. That works for me. Gives me a chance to sip my tea in my Uline cup. We do a lot of business with the Uline. They send me a free cup. Actually, they every once in a while they give me like a sports T-shirt too, or a hat. Anyway, yes, technical difficulties. We're both Sam and I are in need of new equipment. I think in terms of computers, I certainly am. I've been working on the Baseball America. We use a data merge process now for most of our card sets, and we're plug the data in from a spreadsheet into Adobe InDesign, and as you can imagine, it's a pretty complex process, requiring a lot of internal computer oomph, which my computer over the years has begun to lack. So it takes a little bit longer and longer. So that's one of the things we need to get done this year is to get new equipment for both me and for Sam. All right, I think we can dive right back in this. We're talking about fictional college releases, talking about fictional football, fictional basketball, fictional hockey, not so much. Fictional baseball doesn't seem to be much of an interest. Tim Lucas asked a question about, his next question was about my favorite boutique ratings assigned to players, and also what were some of my favorite fictional players. I think I'm going to close the stream with that information. So I'm going to set that question aside because I had a lot of fun reminiscing through the old files. That's how I discovered some of the files were beginning to get corrupt. Looking through some of the old files, remembering some of those old players. Move on to Kevin Watson, who asks, you mentioned on the Red, White, Blue Racing website notes for the new 2023 season that you thought of doing a second card with boutique ratings for Shane van Gisbergen, who is known in racing circles as SVP. I'd like to know what you had in mind because I want to give SVP opportunity to qualify for every race. Well, see, that's part of the problem is his ratings were so he ran in 2 races, and won both of them. They were both road courses. And so Jerry and I, it's not that Jerry and I really had a lot of discussion about it. It was like we were both in total agreement. Yeah, this guy gets a gold trophy for road courses, but obviously, he would not perform that well at Daytona. So our solution was to give him a boutique trophy rating, which means that he will most likely qualify very well for those road courses and perform very well. But if you try to qualify him on a non-road course, he will not have a trophy symbol and will therefore be much more difficult for him to qualify. However, if he does, he will certainly perform fairly well. It's one of those things where there's no real right way to legislate that. You can rely on you can rely on people just to govern it themselves, or you can try to put some checks and balances in place. I think our idea is the best one. Now we do say in the liner notes, he is given the gold trophy for road courses. There are actually 5 road races in the 2023 season, and he only competed in 2 of them, but he certainly could compete in all 5 and probably do very well in all 5. And so he's got a strong there's a strong likelihood that he's going to overperform in your point standings if you let him race in all the road races, and he certainly will if you let him try to qualify for all 34 races. I don't see anything wrong with that. If you want to do that, that's fine. I have no problem with that. So I guess Kevin's question is are we okay with him, running his own, running SVP every race? I'm totally fine with that. I bet he'll finish, fairly well. He's got good enough ratings. He's got great ratings for road courses, and they'll be good enough to really propel him to some strong finishes in non-road courses as well, I think. Kevin also asked about the would that same boutique concept apply to Chase Elliott for the 6 races he missed? No, we won't. We didn't do anything special for Chase Elliott. He missed races because of not because he wasn't like how do I say this? It wasn't like he opted not to participate in certain kinds of races like SVP did. ST Patrick, thank you for watching, by the way, ST. Looking forward to seeing you again here at the convention in June. He asks, when the full Play Hoops game releases in May, will a classic season be released with it? We will have a release. It may or may not be a season release, but there will be a release, a new card release with the Hoops game when it releases in May. Ray Price, my question is about Baseball America sets. What are your plans going forward with those sets? Well, our plan is to continue the series. We felt really good about last year's presentation of the deluxe version for those people that kind of enjoy the our call it our enhanced universe with the team identities, the Vancouver Voyagers and the Buffalo Bees and so on. But we also continue to offer the set as a generic set with just team numbers in the standard black and white. So that went really well last year. If you order the PDF, you get both versions, which is kind of cool. It's a nice package. We're doing that again for the 2024 season. The card design is different. We felt like, Topps has a different card design for its baseball cards each year, so why shouldn't we? So it's the same players. Well, I mean, there are new players, but it's the same franchise, but a different card design that I think you'll really like, and also offered as a PDF with both versions. And you can order either the enhanced version or the standard black and white version if you've already got your own team identities set up. So that's the direction. We're going to continue with that direction, and we're also going to continue to expand the backstory of Baseball America. We will have a new vintage Continental League release, and we're also planning a Century League release for 2024. So we'll have 2 more entries in the Play Baseball universe, which, as we outlined last year, begins in 1946 with the Century League and continues on into 2024 with Baseball America. And in between, there's the Continental League. And we released the 1974 Continental League last year. We'll release a new vintage Continental League and a new vintage Century League set this year as well. Ray is also asking if the fictional hockey league will ever return. He says, I'm a big fan. We are talking about bringing that back, possibly as an evergreen kind of set, sort of like the Century League. I'm thinking of so Bob Hansen has kind of taken it upon himself to continue to produce the Hockey North America legacy in much the same way that Lenny LaFrance has sort of taken over the IPFC franchise for Cold Snap. So Bob's been updating the players, and we talked at Christmas time about maybe us stepping back in and taking that over again and releasing our own set. But Bob's doing a pretty good job with it, and I mean really a really good job with it. Bob, you're doing an excellent job with it. But I do think we may put together an evergreen Hockey North America set with our own team identities that would not have a year necessarily on it. It would use the players that from the World Hockey League and Hockey North America, some of the familiar players assigned to teams. If you recall, those of you that haven't been around that long, before Hockey North America, we had the World Hockey League, which began actually the 2010-2011 season, ran all the way through 2017-18. But that entire league, that entire history of that league, we never had any assigned players to any teams. We just released the players, and it was up to the gamers to assign the players to the teams. We changed that with Hockey North America, but we still have all that history of the World Hockey League with those players, and we continue the players into the Hockey North America franchise as well. There's the same players, different name, and a different structure. So our thinking is we do an evergreen Hockey North America World Hockey League set, sort of an all-star set, maybe an all-time set, which would have team identities and use some of those players. And it would just be on the site. It'd be just like an evergreen set, kind of like the Century League, that you can buy into and enjoy, and continue the tradition with Bob's cards. I think that's the direction that we're going to stay the course with as we move forward. Andrew Criswell writes, my daughters and I have really gotten into women's college basketball, and especially Caitlin Clark's run for the record. Would you ever consider trying to capture the current interest and star power in the latest Division I hoops with a card set? He says, like in the style of the 64 team release about a year ago. Maybe fewer teams, obviously. Yeah, that would be tough. First of all, let me preface it by saying that I'm really pleased to say that women's sports in general seem to be picking up steam and interest. There's more interest now in women's sports than I've seen in the hobby for really since I've been in the hobby, which is a great thing. I will say that doing a women's college basketball set, like a men's college basketball set, has a unique set of problems. The school names cannot be used legally. They're trademarked and aggressively protected. So we can't say Penn State or LSU or Notre Dame. You can't use any, or University of Connecticut. You can't use those legally. Certainly not the nicknames for the teams. So that makes it difficult for us. Now we did a college football set, which sort of we use pseudonyms. So instead of Ohio State, it was Ohio Classic, or instead of University of Texas, it's Big Texas or Big Alabama. So we could do something like that, but it takes a lot of it's not entirely satisfying to a lot of people, and it takes a lot of effort to work around that. And I say, regardless, we really don't have the bandwidth at this moment, February 2023-24 season, to produce a women's college basketball set. I'm sorry to say. Hopefully, there's somebody in the community that can homebrew one, or because I agree, it's a great thing.
We are interested in doing it.
We are interested in doing it. We don't. It's not currently on the schedule. We don't have the bandwidth to shoehorn it in, but possibly down the road, it's something that we would certainly pursue. The women's soccer thing was another thing that we kind of noticed. Wow, there's quite a bit of interest in women's soccer. We should get on that. But there's it's tough to do all the card sets we really would like to do with the amount of time that we have. And that's what the community is for. That's what the how-to guides are for. Anybody creates something, send it to us. We can get it out there, and people can enjoy it that way. Okay, I believe that is all except for Tim Lucas's question about my favorite boutique rating. He shares his favorite boutique rating was for 2014. That was 10 years ago. Football America, Oklahoma City quarterback Ubia Foster Owens, UFO as we call him. And he had this boutique running rating that made him like a terror. He was a horrible passer, but man, could he run. In fact, with him and Rondé Lincoln, you had Rondé Lincoln, the Prairie Bulldozer in the backfield, and UFO at quarterback. You hardly even needed to pass. You could just run all the time. It was amazing. But he kind of flamed out, and I think he lasted a few years before the rest of the Football America got onto him. But that was Tim's favorite boutique player. And he also asked, what are some of the favorite fictional players? Favorite boutique ratings, favorite fictional players. Okay, just a quick list. Favorite boutique ratings. I remember the boutique rating I gave Tony Romo in 2011, where he had a variable game on the line rating. I don't even, it was a long time ago. It was 13 years ago. But he was really erratic. He would play brilliantly sometimes in the fourth quarter, but other times he would play just horribly. So we had a variable game on the line rating for him, where as you entered the fourth quarter, you rolled a die, and if it was odd, he was game on the line star, and if it was even, then he was game on the line burst. So you never knew what you were going to get, until the fourth quarter started, which was pretty fun. I also like the kickers that get the you have to roll a die to see what, they get a really poor field goal grade if you roll a 6. Most of the time they're money, but if you roll that 6, oh boy, they're going to shank the 28-yarder. So I like those boutique ratings. There were some fun face of the mat ratings that I enjoyed going over. I remember the jobbers that we did for face of the mat back when we were doing real wrestlers. the Continental nobleman Joe Turco, his specialty was getting pummeled by the opponent, where you'd roll a die and he'd lose that many points, and then Captain Lou Albano would actually leave the ring for his specialty before being pinned. So those were some fun boutique ratings. Junior Johnson's skill rating for the Pioneer set for NASCAR is cool, where he instead of challenging, he duels. Really kind of, I think, captures his racing style. And the Blue Triangle is a nice twist for those of you that have that set. And we did some neat stuff for the Cooperstown set too. I like the boutique rating we gave Eddie Geidel, where if the chart comes up whiff or strikeout, he doesn't whiff, he gets a base on balls, because he was strictly instructed to not take the bat off his shoulder when he went to bat in that one at bat. And my favorite fictional players, here we go. Scram, we're going to say Wayne Montana. And I know he's a villain to many. He's a hero to me. And the women of Scram, I think it's pretty cool that the Scram has some pretty strong, high-finishing women. Donna Torville, Julie Justice, Amy Sarah, Pam Graham. So those are some of my favorites for Scram. We already talked about Football America. I like Serge Urelian, one of the original Football America guys from 2000, made it into the reboot in 2010. Billy Howie and Colt McCown, who is still active. He was a rookie in 2010, or I guess 2011 he was a rookie. He's sort of a cross between Colt McCoy and Josh McCown. And both of those guys are retired now, but Colt McCown lives on. He's still playing. Baseball America, of course, Johnny Fortune and Fernando De La Rosa, of course. Can't talk Baseball America without mentioning those two guys, but also our versions of Shohei Ohtani. We got two of them, Jose Davalos and Hippolito Amado. And Neris Nance is one of my new favorites, the big power hitter for the Vegas Big Shots. Hockey North America, Nick Kincannon, Steve Konowalchuk, Yannick Lahou. And then there were the guys, a lot of you guys won't remember this, when Lacrosse Blast came out, we cross-pollinated the lacrosse players with some of the World Hockey League players. So the idea was some of those guys played in the World Hockey League in the winter, and then in the World Indoor Lacrosse League in the summer. So guys like who was it? I got my list here. It was Chris Kinney, Gates Toft was the goalie, played in both leagues. So that was kind of cool as well. And IPFC, Canadian football, Jamarcus Urban, the ex-London Monarchs, now Pacific Whalers quarterback. And face of the mat, we got the Wrestling Rabbi. Who could forget the Wrestling Rabbi, right? 20 years later, he's still wrestling. And Don't Call Me Allison Rose. And, of course, the Rock Brothers, Ricky and Rob Rock. So Judge Joe Ridge has a lot of great memories with. Oh, see what you got me doing here. Yeah, there's a lot of great fictional. It's amazing how these guys just sort of take on their own real life identity in your mind after so long of having them on your tabletops. And that's it. Those are some of my favorite fictional players and some of my favorite boutique ratings. Felt like that was a good way to end the show tonight. So. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I see my screen went blank here on my iPad. I have to unlock it. Let me just check real quick, see if there's any other last-second questions before we dial out of here.
I don't really see much on this.
I'm looking at mine here. How do I do this? It's not really scrolling very well.
I don't think there's that much to scroll
Okay.
on.
All right. Well, thanks for putting up with our technical difficulties. I apologize for that. We're going to try to get that fixed here ASAP. And I appreciate you being here. We'll be right back Thursday night for our annual big game pre-play with Second Season Express, San Francisco, and Kansas City. We'll use the home-brewed carded teams from John Bowen that we posted in the last Play Connect. So you can check those out. We'll see you Thursday night. Always fun to see how close our game comes to the real thing. Sometimes not very close at all. Sometimes really close. You just never know. Until then, have a great weekend. Stay safe and have a great weekend. Wait a minute. We got the whole week ahead of us. I do hope it's only Monday. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I should have rewritten the script. Have an awesome week. And we'll look forward to seeing you again on Thursday night here on the Play Space Live. Thanks again.